focus hours. Every month, we will have multiple focus hours like these in order to help you go through the system. I'm going to tell you a couple things today as we keep going. So, which is like obviously to look at your lms.thecareerlabs.com. This is a very important resource. We've spent a lot of time in collecting. I'm just going to list down a lot of resources today. First of all, you all can hear me, okay? Can you just give me like a quick reaction? Like you can just give me like a hands up or something, or like a quick thumbs up, or even raise your hands or anything else, or just a wave. Yeah, super awesome. Yeah, pretty excited to see everybody, by the way. I've been down with a little bit of a cold, but I'm back and I'm so happy to get my voice back. And of course, to talk about something which is very important to me, obviously, MBA, admissions and everything else about it, right? We've also been getting good news from everywhere. A lot of my clients from last year got complete scholarships. Last week, I was in ISB. So I was very happy to interact with the admissions team and then like talk to them, of course, and so on. So it's been a very fun thing. But yeah, so why am I here today is to obviously to keep prodding you all on towards what is needed. lms.thecareerlabs.com, you would have access to the courses. I'll be showcasing it in a little bit shortly. All right. And we've done a lot of work on it. And we've been like, thinking about what is the best way of helping people, giving everyone support and what to do, etc. and so on. And that's what we've been doing. And today I'm just going to quickly show you that. But most importantly, I would want you to use these focus hours as asking questions, because this is your opportunity to ask a question about, certain things that are there. All right. So let me just give you like a quick set of resources that are also available to you along with other things. The other thing that we do is MBA Waves. On MBA Waves, we get people from everywhere in the like in the business school ecosystem. So be it alums, be it school professionals, be it people from GRE, GMAC, etc., and anybody. And the whole idea is to talk to them and get a perspective. So we also bring fellow admissions consultants and so on. The whole idea is to give you everything that you need to know about business and education. All right, so MBA Waves, like you can just subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's something that I do with a couple of my colleagues across the globe. And I do it so that people are getting a more international perspective on multiple things. All right, and then starting in April, what we're going to do is we're going to have a bunch of admissions folks come and then talk to you. And I'm also going to invite some of my older clients to come and share their journey with you so that they can give you like, you can get better insight, obviously, into the process. Okay. So for the next, I think like I'm not going to hog the entire conversation. This is all about you. For the next possibly 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you what you should be doing right now. So I was in ISB last week, as I mentioned, and one of the things that came up when we were talking to the head of admissions, and this is the senior director at the academics and student affairs, who's been there since the day that ISB was first started. So this is what he had to tell. One of the pieces of advice he said is, he said that I asked him, like, what do you think applicants should do more of? He said, like, I really wish that applicants were more curious about the business world and business school and what's happening in that world and so on, right? So that's something that stuck with me a lot. And in fact, I'll be writing an article about it later today, tomorrow. And you can see that on LinkedIn as well. But that stuck with me. The first thing that you guys should be doing, if you're very serious about an MBA, MIM, deferred MBA, doesn't matter. You all would be coming from multiple, you might be looking at anything from the business school, If you're serious about going and attending any top business school, you better connect and get a sense of the ecosystem around the business school. So what does that mean? Is definitely getting connections to current students, alums, admissions people, and then in general about the business world. The easiest way to do it is to think about your own company where you're working right now and thinking about how does your company make money? How does your marketing department interact with the sales department? Okay, and then like what kind of sales happens there? What about the balance sheet? How did your company perform in the last quarter? What was the profit and loss? Can you do like a P&L of it, right? Do you understand what are some of the threats? What are some of the other factors that are going to disrupt your industry, your company, in which you're you're there, and so on, right? So it is super important to be curious about the business world in general. And this is what they expect. The more and more you get curious about the business world, the more and more knowledge you will have about your own goals. The goals can be manifold. You might want to be a product manager. Lots of people want to be consultants. A lot of others want to get into like investment banking and all the glamorous roles. Of course, you can then also go into what we call as more traditional conservative roles like corporate finance, operations management, supply chain management, etc. So the second thing that is super important would be clarity about your career goals. This will not come just by watching the set of webinars, just by doing our worksheets. It will only come when you are clearly able to visualize what is it that you want to do later. And it's going to take some effort and it's going to take multiple iterations. Okay. When you fill up the worksheet today we may say, oh, you know what, Kritika? I found this career goals worksheet, the industry research worksheet. Today I'm going to select management consulting. Okay, but then you might go and talk to somebody and you might understand how important the healthcare sector is and what's happening in the healthcare sector. So you might want to have a pivot there and so on. So the second thing that you should be doing in the next 3 months is having complete clarity about your career goals. Okay. And the third thing, which is why I'm going to come and you might say, oh my God, stop nagging me. But I'll be very honest. I did this diligent analysis, beautiful, lovely Excel sheets. We also tried Power BI, Tableau, and all the works. And we had like multiple visualization tools. We did a complete analysis. We have a lot of data over the past years. Career Labs has been very successful in that way. So we looked at what were some of the reasons why people were not successful in getting into an MBA program. And we also looked at what made certain people successful. What were some of the predictors? We were looking at, you all know PGA reports that we send to you. You all have like different factors on which you get assessed. You might remember, some of you might remember. We have like a long evaluation around 22 points and we evaluate you and then we evaluate you across 5 different major categories, which are very critical for business school and leadership in general. And then of course we share it with you. And we say that this is how you have to improve your profile over the period of time, right? Now, we looked at it in detail. After the analysis, couple things emerged. The one thing was the commitment to getting the MBA. All right, I'm going for all C words, guys, but it's just fun. So the commitment to getting the MBA or the MIM or whatever is the degree that you're gunning after at business school was so critical. And you know how the commitment manifested? It was in getting that stupid test out of the way as soon as possible. So, and I'm not even kidding. If you are looking at round one, now you might be curious, hey, when is round one? Round one is, for all practical purposes, it is September 2024. But if you're looking at India, like some of the earlier Indian schools, like your IIMs, will have like earlier deadlines. So August, September is, and of course, some of them will have later deadlines. This one. So round one is going to be in August, September, and October. Keeping this in mind, if you're serious about going for this round, you should have done your test. And by test, what do we mean? You should have got the final score for submission by like June of 2024. Okay, now you might wonder, oh my God, how am I going to make it happen? What is going to happen, right? That's exactly what you'll have to think about. Why do we say that is because the people who spend a lot more time thinking about your goals and presenting it, thinking about the school and figuring out why that school matters to them and so on, are the ones who are going to reap benefits. All right. So these were some, so the test, the commitment is shown through the test, as simple as that. You might argue in multiple ways, like, hey, I'm a great student, I'm a great test taker, I'm going to do other things and then do it, right? But the point is that If you're serious and you're saying, I'm really going to do something, which in this case is MBA, you have to keep it in your mind that get the test out of the way, or find like what is it that you're going to have in place for the test. Example, some of the schools will accept a CFA, will accept something else, like you might have already had before. So you might be belonging to that category. Some of them will accept like an older SAT score, or an MCAT score, or an LSAT score, which are older scores, which you do it actually to get into law school and med school, and obviously college. So some programs are okay with that. So either take the test or make up your mind that you're going to go to a program without test if you want to go for round one. And and this is something that we really really like ask. And you might ask, oh, you know what, something is happening, god forbid, you might say, look, I have had an accident, I'm not able to take it by June, what do I do? Those are extreme cases. All right, those are not planned cases, but what I'm telling you is, as per your plan, aim to take it by June. You might say, how can I wreak miracles? I'll be very honest also. The GMAT is, yeah, it is a tough test, not really that like not easy, right, compared to something. But it's not a tough test when you practice. It is not a tough test when you're devoting time to it. Technically speaking, you only need to spend about 120 to 150 hours on it. Okay, it is not like, for example, I did the ICF coaching program. I have done about 250 hours of training, like taking sessions and learning, and like sitting in a class and learning and all that. And in addition to that, I have done close to 750 hours of coaching. Okay, so overall I have put in around 1,000 hours of impact over the 2.5 years in order to get my ICF certification. Okay, now that's a lot of hours, right? But the GMAT is nothing of that sort. It's to me, at the end of the day, it's a test which is going to, help you figure out about the help you figure out about, like the quantitative reasoning, and then of course your verbal reasoning, and now the data insights, right? The data insights were always there, but the OER wasn't there, right? So I know for some of you this will be like, oh, stop boring me, but for some of you, you needed to hear this. So that's the deal, right? So these are some of the critical points that you need to keep in mind throughout your year. Okay, I don't care whether you go for the MBA this year, next year, the year after. All these steps are the ones that are going to prepare you for getting into the mindset that is required at a business school. Okay, now coming to the next important thing, for which I'm going to give you like a quick workshop today. See, I wanted you all to please log into lms.thecareerlabs.com, please, if you don't mind. I have already logged in and I'm going to share it with you. All right. So I really request you all to log in. That'll be very helpful. And if you can't like get in, or you're having some difficulty, if you let us know right now, then we'll be able to help you today itself, and then get it sorted. Yeah. So just 1 minute. The system seems to hate this. 1 second. Oh, there we go. All right. So see, guys, like this is something that I really, really want you to, make use of. And so today, like, what we are focusing on would be, how can you leverage the month of March, and what should you be doing in the month of March? What's your milestone? In the month of March, you should be deciding on the programs, which is researching on the programs. Okay. And I'm going to tell you about ISB. Why? Because I was just there, and why not? Because honestly, some of the things that are happening there, right, is very indicative of what will happen in a top program, in a top business school program. I was at Kellogg, I was at Stanford, I have been to Harvard multiple times, I have been to MIT, okay, then Chicago Booth. The only school that I have not seen from the M7 is Wharton, but I did go to University of Pennsylvania in 2009. But at that time, I did not really visit Wharton Business School. Okay, so I have seen UPenn, so it's not like I haven't seen it. But among the M7, I've seen it all, right? All of them. And definitely all the other schools, because that's what we do through AGAC. Go and visit and talk to these admissions directors and all that. So today I'm going to show you how to research a school, because this will become like a template for you. And I really, really request you all to either use like 3 ways to use it. Either go to the learning path and obviously go click on something wherever you want and then understand. Now, you might be young and you might have tons of questions. You might be unclear whether you're going for an MBA, MIM, MEM, MSBA, whatever, right? So these are things that can help you for it. And then most importantly, you have like the top B schools, you have the handy checklist of worksheets, etc., which I would really want you to look for. Okay, so now I'm going to go to researching the schools directly, unless someone has a particular question here, because that is the topic. So when you look at module number 3, and this is also another way to look at it. See, we already kept some recordings from last year as well for you as a way for you to like look at more things. This is the feedback that I got from students last year. They said like, see, where I think I need more of your help will be for my individual, decision making processes. So I said, definitely. So we are here to help you decide on what to do, etc. So and they said like, why don't you just like give us multiple webinars from before and other things, and you can have these sessions as focus hours where people can come and ask questions. And we said definitely we'll be willing to follow that as well, like whatever helps you move forward. Okay, so that's why when you look at the researching on B schools, you would have tons of things that are there, because trust me that one thing is, throughout Career Lab's aim has been that we're not specifically talking about, oh, this is how the school works now. We're always looking at teaching you how to do things so that you are like benefiting from it. And obviously that's how business school is going to be, right? So that's been our philosophy. And see, these are the two important handouts that you need, and that you'll be like working on. And I want you to download today itself and keep it ready so that you can fill it out, right? Today, what I'm going to do is I've already downloaded this, in ahead of time, so that I'm going to quickly show you about the research. So what I want you to do is download it and open it. And I'm just going to open ISB for instance. And I'm also willing to like tell you about another school if you want to, but let's quickly go to ISB. All right. For the time being, because a lot of people always want to use it. And there are a lot of changes coming up for it. Very interesting. And it's a beautiful campus, by the way. If you've not been, and if you're in India, right, you can always make a visit to ISB campus. They would love to like host you for multiple events, know the campus, and so on and so forth. So if you're talking about, so whenever you go to any business school, there's something called as a flagship program. And for ISB, it's the PGP program that you're seeing. Okay, so 1 minute. Okay. So ISB obviously has multiple programs, so let's not worry about it right now. We're talking about the flagship MBA program at the moment. So now the question is like, what do I mean by researching about the school? Now, basically the questions we are asking is, should I go study at ISB? Should I go study in India? What kind of job do I want after ISB? And then like, what kind of experience do I seek at ISB? And then how can I make the best of the most of the MBA at ISB? Right? So essentially, those are the questions you're asking. Now, I can do the same thing with Kellogg, for instance. Now, Kellogg, 1-year program, 2-year program. So I can go to Kellogg and say like, hey, okay, which program should I choose? What kind of experience am I seeking? What kind of job do I want at the end of it? Right? But this is what I would ask you to think about more. Ask yourself, who should I be when I'm in the program and I'm coming out of the program? Okay, you might think like, hey, what is this kind of a thing, right? But no, honestly, like, who do you want to be? Like, do you want to be somebody like, and this is where I want to talk about ISB because it's amazing. There are many things that are available for people. Let me just show you very quickly. Obviously, it has this stellar system of faculty members coming in from different like global business schools around the world and staying at ISB and so on. It has a term-based system. So you would have terms that run for 6 weeks, and you have one exam week, and then like, one practical week kind of a thing for 4 weeks of courses and then so on. So you have something called as a core modules, which happens between April to about now, like, September. And then from November onwards, placement starts. Okay, actually, like, sometimes it's also September, depending on if you're going for consulting, etc. So let me see what's happening here. So, oops, or no more, 1 minute. All right, so when you go into an ISB, right? The first question that you might want to understand is, hey, should I study at ISB? So you decide on three fronts. One is career goals, one is personal development, and one is obviously about the academic part of it. Now, personal development can be like your social interactions, the network that you want to build, the kind of experience that you want to have, etc. Right? So I'll tell you experiences so that you understand. So we met with a lot of my own clients from last year. It was really fun to see them. I have never seen them online. I mean, I've only seen them online. I've never seen them in flesh. So that was like a good thing to meet. I saw, it was very surprising to meet somebody who was following me on LinkedIn and who said like, hey, I know you. Like, I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't know you. And they said, no, I saw your LinkedIn and I have been looking at your writing and so on. I'm like, oh, thanks. So it was really nice meeting people on campus. And this is what I'll tell you about three stories. So this is story of one person. She came from marketing and she really had like three jobs in 4 years, kind of a person. But was very good in analytical skills and other things as well. In each of her roles, she had done like a multiple component. And she came to like ISB. And you know what she did was she kind of like organized the entire headshots for about 890 people, the entire class, both from Mohali as well as Hyderabad. And that's what she did at ISB. And she was also the head of the women in business kind of I forget the exact name, but it's an equivalent of the women in business club. Okay. All right. So anyway, that's the kind of experience that she was seeking. Okay. So when you're looking at a program, you have to think a lot more of it, and the school automatically helps you. How does the school help you? First, it tells you like who's coming and studying there. So this should be your first clue to know whether this is the kind of program that you want to go to. Okay. So this is something like very interesting. And one of the interesting facts that we learned was that ISB is really looking at increasing the female quotient as well as like increasing the non-engineers to engineers ratio. Do you guys see that? Yeah. So if you're not an engineer, right, don't think that you can't get into a business school program and all that. It's been working very hard to do it. And the majority of them very, very young, like around 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of experience, which kind of shows in the age group as well. In that you can see that, majority of them were younger and very few of them were older. So we did meet a few older candidates as well. But yeah, so a class profile will tell you whether you'll fit in and who is there. So that's your first clue. The second clue is going to be placements. And I talk about this extensively in the webinar on how to research the schools. You really want to know whether the school is able to give you the kind of jobs that you want. And the school will tell you more details about it. We also have a career goals workshop that we conduct, and we'll be conducting it again starting from April onwards. Live sessions will be there again, right? So you can always come for those sessions once more for the live sessions, but we have multiple recordings of the same thing right now. So you might wonder, how do I go find it? So let me help you find it here. So you can just go here, which is 1 minute. So this is what you have, right? So go to additional resources and go to workshops. So you can just click on it and here you will see a lot of career goals workshops posted at multiple times. Now, what we did was we took the best of those workshops every month that we do, and we put a couple of them so that you would have different flavors. And you will see that even the resume bootcamp is double, and even the leveraging LinkedIn workshop is double, and so on. This is just to give you different flavors and at different points when it was conducted. Okay, because when I do it in March versus when I do it in May, it's a little different. And similarly, the career goals workshop towards August and September were a lot different. And we did have like a lot of input from the career services people. By the way, did I tell you guys that when Career Labs was started, we had Mr. Kannan, who was in the admissions team of ISB before, advising us for quite some time. So the point is that, yeah. So, I mean, of things. And so these kind of like all this information and everything that you see comes from a lot of research and other things that are done. So I would really want to go and then watch that and get an understanding of what that is, right? Okay, coming back to, sorry, 1 minute. It's going to the wrong one, right? Oh no, it was here. So where did it go? It's just some like default stuff that happened. Okay, I'm then gonna go back here. I think I clicked on admissions and it led me to that page. No wonders. Sorry, no worries. So anyway, you would want to also keep your eyes on the upcoming events and make sure that you're able to like see a few of them, or especially the admissions events, yeah? Not all of them. But anyway, 1 minute. So, oh, this is one. Oops. Sorry, guys. This is me being very finger, trigger happy. 1 second. Oops. Oh, come on. Yeah. So coming back to placements, that's where we are, right? I would really want you to think about placements. That's going to be the first kind of starting point, like a very quick thing. Do you want to go in there, etc.? And these are all easy things, you might be wondering, oh, is it like, how do I find out? What do I do, right? These are comparatively easy to do in the sense that just figure out if it has the opportunities, what's consulting like versus IT, ITES technology. By the way, guys, I PGP still did well this year compared to multiple other years. It wasn't too bad for them. Even though the recession seems to have hit, right? It wasn't too bad. All right. And as can be seen by the kind of salaries and other things that people are doing, right? See, this admissions events is the one that you might want to definitely try. So now you see, okay, so I just had to look at class profile placements, then what? What's the big deal, right? That's the deal. You can't tell ISB, oh, you have a class of 51% non-engineers and I'm a woman, I'm coming there. You can't say that, oh, you have like 16, not 9 offers, and an average of 2 offers per student, hence I'm coming there. This holds true for any business school, be it your Harvard, Stanford, Kellogg, MIT, Columbia, anybody. It doesn't matter. Okay. If you want to talk about Europe, ESA, I had somebody who got waitlisted there. And of course, HEC Paris, a lot of them are saying Ash AC, as the French one, but in Zayar, of course, right? So you really want to think about, doesn't matter which region it is. You cannot say like, oh, I'm coming to your program because I want to get in a consulting job, so take me. So then what should you decide? That's exactly where comes in the whole parameters around the curriculum. What kind of courses are available? What kind of academic experience will you enjoy? Then comes the professional development. Okay, then comes like multiple things. Now you might say, then how do I find it? Where do I check it? What should I do? That's exactly why you have to go and check the student experience. I have to say that unfortunately, ISB's recent, what do you call it as, their page, no, is not too good, unfortunately. Um, it looks like a real, kind of like a little weird, no? But their like previous web page was much, much better. But that said, your clue will lie in understanding what the school is portraying. So look at the ISB advantage. So what are they selling? So look at it first. So that will give a clue to it. And the campus was as beautiful as this, guys. If you have a chance, go visit because you're in India. You could actually go and do it, right? So that's why I'm saying, and it doesn't take too long to go from wherever you are. So you can see what is it a school offering. And now I will bring a case for another B school. So let's go to, tell me about which school do you guys want? Do you want Kellogg? Do you want, which one would you like to have? Mhm. LBS, super. LBS is another favorite school of ours, and we have been really successful in placing a lot of MIM candidates to LBS. So let's go to LBS, okay? Why not? And when you go to LBS, let me show you how to find out the student experience part. So LBS also will have a class profile. It'll also have like, placements and everything else, because that's what the school will tell you first. But then how do I understand if it's right for me or not? Right? That's exactly why you really have to dig in deep and understand the student experience. How can I find the student experience? The school is going to tell you, and the school will tell you multiple ways. So, the first thing is understanding the features of the program in terms of academics, personal development, leadership development, career development, and so on. So, here I'll take a pause and tell you what did I find at ISB. So, for example, I was very curious about what is a day in the life of an ISB student. Where do they stay? Okay, and like how do they meet their groups? How do they study? Where do the classes happen? All right, so where do students like meet up, and there is an LRD for them, the learning center for it. And then of course you also have the where do people eat, for example. What are the other things that people do? What are the other professional clubs that people have? What are the events and things that are arranged? What about career services? Do they have coaches, leadership coaches for them? Do they undergo any kind of psychometric assessments and other assessments that will help them to understand their leadership styles differently? What kind of career coaching is given to them? What kind of interview practice is given to them? When do the companies come on campus? When do they when do they like start attending the different hiring interviews? How does the hiring happen? How supportive are the alumni? How many times do the alumni interact with the students? Now, what do students do for fun? How much of sports are students involved in? Okay, how do students unwind? And what are their like even accommodations? How does the campus accommodate 590 students? Okay, and last but not the least, what is the faculty doing? Where do they stay? And how often do students interact with faculty? And what happens in a typical classroom? How do they interact? What kind of courses happen? What kind of case studies happen? What is the preparation that's required for somebody? What are the different positions that are available for students? How many clubs exist? Okay, and so on and so forth. And of course, not to not to forget the international immersions, the global treks, because even at ISB they had treks that were going to Bangalore and so on, for those of them who wanted to get into tech. Mhm. So do you see like what all it takes in order to get into a business school? So those are the questions. And the questions now, where do we find the answers? Because like you, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my God, where do I find, right? That's exactly why they will tell you. So they are going to tell you by asking about, you know, uh, or like who attends in terms of the class profile. And this is what I told you. They will tell you about the academic content, which is the core courses, electives, experiential learning, etc. Okay, and now you have to look at the blogs, because the kind of questions that I was asking is not found on the website. You have to go for information events. You have to talk to current students and alums, and you have to look at the blogs. Okay, now blogs are not directly available, which is so sad, but let's see. If you go to apply, you can see the process and the calendar. Typically, sometimes they also put information for the prospective applicant on this page. Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. Let me see if I have enough memory for it. Yeah, okay. So you'll be able to see that. But now, then other way to see it would be that you just go and do this dirty thing, which is go and search for the LBS student blog. Okay, because that will be an easier way to find. I really hope that I could help you guys with the what do you call it, as the website design. Some of the websites are really bad. I don't know why. More and more websites have become worse over the years. But there are a lot of information that is available. And see, this is the thing that they need to understand before you arrive. So events for prospective students, for example, this will tell you a little bit, but how do I understand about the life at LBS? This is not so helpful. So what I can do, I can go search here itself and look for a student blog. And let's see if it works. So that's one thing that I can, oops, not there, sorry. Okay, this is so weird. So that's why I'm going to go back to Google and I'm going to do the dirty little thing, which is like LBS, MBA student experience. Hmm. Okay, so once you do this, then you will see that, hey, come on. Yeah, so that might be a better way to look for things. You won't find it immediately. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Some of the schools have it easy, but some of the schools don't have it. And then the other way I will find out is admissions blog. I'll find out a student blog. And then trust me that some of these things are very bad. Okay, some of them are really bad. I'm so sorry that I could say otherwise, but not really. So now you see, it was hidden somewhere, isn't it? So, but that's the way to go about it and learn more about the program. Because now you might wonder, Kritika, you ask so many questions. How can I like also get it? All these questions are the ones on your B School research worksheet. The same questions that I asked and I told you were the same questions that are there on your B School research worksheet. Okay, because you cannot think about going to business school and saying, oh, I want to get into consulting job, I'll go there. It doesn't work like that. All right, so this is going to be an extraordinary and important source for you to learn more about the school. Unless you can, I always say that what is the best way to choose a school, right? So work with me here. Close your eyes right now, if you don't mind. Just close your eyes. It's just for a couple minutes, please. You can be with me. Close your eyes. In definitely 1 year from now, you are going to be in your favorite business school program. You're waking up in your bed, in a beautiful campus, in a particular room, somewhere, and you know that you are getting ready for attending business school that day. So you get ready. So you're looking at the notes, you've already prepared your case notes and everything else. You're looking forward to meeting with your study team, the learning group, your section group, or whatever they call it. And you're ready to attend the class on operations management. It's taught by your favorite professor for the day. And you have one teammate who is from the operations management background. And therefore, that teammate is really helping you all in order to understand the case better. And then you're going into the business classroom. What are you seeing? Right? The class gets done, you've done an extremely great job, and then you're getting out of the class, you're meeting with somebody for lunch. This is an alum. After that, you are the president of a certain club, which is a professional club, and you are working on policies for it, and you're going to meet with them. After that, you're going and attending a meeting with a business school person, maybe like, sorry, like business CEO, maybe, right? And this person is again an alum, and you're so excited about meeting this person in on campus and getting to talk to them and sit next to them and interview them and ask them questions. Later that evening, you guys are going for a party, to a nearby place, maybe bowling, maybe a drink and so on, and you are preparing for hosting an event that's going to happen in 3 weeks from down the line, and you're like, talking to people to get it done, right? With that, you're ending your day. So you may now open your eyes. And that exactly is what happens in business school in just one day. Just imagine the pace of it in a week, in a year if you're in ISB, and of course, 2 years if you're in the US and so on, right? That is what you should be able to do when you're researching about a particular school. All right. How can you get that information? Is student and admissions blog, reading a lot about it, definitely the videos. You just also like for the videos, this is an easy method to do like an experience. and and okay, the third most favorite thing, which is my tool, is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is nothing like anything before. I really wish it existed 20 years ago, when I was going to school, but yeah, it's really great. Okay. And the fourth thing would be the admissions blogs. So don't really think this is there. Every school, my favorite admissions blog, of last year is Yale. You know why? Because Bruce, who's on the Yale, sorry, 1 minute. Bruce is on the Yale School of Management one, and he is amazing. His assistant dean of admissions, Bruce Delmonico. He's really great, and he does a lot of info. He's done many of these things as well, but then we also have a lot of insight from him on the blogs. So you can just see, he's been working on giving a lot of information. Sorry. Oops. Why is this not coming? And that's Bruce. So I had a privilege of interviewing him many times for AGAC. There we go. So this is an example of a dean's blog. Shari Hubert of Fuqua also does a good job, but it's our team that puts out stuff. Bruce, I know, writes much of the stuff himself and of course, has a wonderful team, but he does a lot of the stuff, and applicant tips are also available. You know what? I love this thing. Now, Wharton has an application guide. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it has an application guide which you should actually go and check it out. It just takes like a second to download, but it has like amazing info. Now, why am I telling you all this? Is because your school will have its own flavor and will tell you different things as well. Going to school, okay, is depending on multiple things. And of course, my entire course is put together on all these things, and when you see this, they also tell you the same thing. So then you might wonder that what's the big deal, right? The big deal is actually getting things done, and also knowing what to do when and how to do it, right? That also. So anyway, coming back to this is how you research schools. Now then you might wonder like, okay, then how do we all put it together? That's why we have the B School research worksheet. We found a very neat way of helping you put all the facts together and of course, come back to figuring out whether this one is nice or not, right? And yeah, so the point what I want to make is researching on the program is very important. Now, this month of March, I just request you to like how you did in the past, like probably 20 minutes, just go pick any program. You might be wondering which program. See, you can go to our own Career Lab section. We have the entire list of top 25 programs. Go to FT rankings. So we had Andrew Jack, who's the head of FT rankings, talk to us on MBA Waves about it, right? So it was really nice to hear from him on some of the ways that they put together rankings and what matters. And I like FT rankings because they provide multiple categories and it becomes a way to choose a list. Okay. So for example, I don't know which particular program to choose right now. I can just as simply go to just a second. Oops. Sorry, it's just acting up a little. Okay, so my favorite feature of FT rankings is this, which is like, say for example, you are curious about, what, let me just show you this and then I'll tell you. So you're curious about Let's see. I am looking at okay. You're more curious about, say, carbon footprint rank. I can start ranking schools based on that. You're more interested in international course experience rank. I can look at that. Okay. What I like the FT rankings for is this kind of ranking, but I'll also tell you this ranking doesn't really make that much of a sense for deciding between programs. Because honestly, I found Berkeley Haas to be really amazing in terms of sustainability than Columbia any day. All right. So the question is that what is it that you want? So, but then what does this give you? Is it gives you like a list, handy list of schools. It's a very good list of schools that is available. If you want to understand, so are we saying that Columbia alumni are not better than ESA alumni? No, I don't think so. It just gives you like a good quick comparison. It's a list at the end of the day, and it's a good list to have. So for example, and we also joke around how schools are not on the list. For example, Ross is not on the list this year. Wharton was not on the list last year. Okay, so just don't go by it, but use it as a way to get familiar with the schools. So what I would say today, go and look at INSEAD. Look at INSEAD and see like who are the people they want to take. INSEAD has a huge emphasis on international exposure. Out of my 10.5 years of experience, I have seen just one candidate from India who got in without having too much of international exposure. I meet with all my fellow admissions consultants and we have discussions around and multiple things around and all that. And that's part of being part of AGAC, right? So we really like talk about who gets in, what happens, and so on and so forth, right? So they don't take, and Jennifer Liu, who's the NCR head at Singapore admissions, can attest to it. So there are multiple things for a particular school. Columbia needs good scores. They need to see the the math and the quantability. Esther Bocconi values diversity like nothing else. Okay, Wharton wants to be like a straight-faced, what do you call it as the straight arrow, rather, meaning that you should have got, excellent in multiple areas. Okay, so every school has its own set of what we call as things. So what can you use this ranking for? Use it to play around with what matters for you. All these different things, no? So you can keep adding more. So for example, what are the aims, number of people, the female students who are there, etc., etc. So you can play around with the columns and the filters. You can download the data and then like play with it on Excel, do fancy graphs on it, etc. if you're like us. Okay, but what this gives you, don't come to me and say, Kritika, oh, I never knew about the programs. These are the programs. Well, these are the programs that are there. Okay. So it's very simple. If you're looking at the US, you have an M7 followed by the S10, right? Followed by a few other schools that we recommend. If you're going to Europe, we again have a set of around 12 schools that we typically recommend. If you're going to or like any of the UK or the Spain or France schools, there is again a list already available. I'll be very honest, I typically do not stray beyond, it's not a question of rank, but it's a question of like what are the top schools in each program. So honestly, I don't like see we don't have a lot of people interested in SEEBs after COVID. Obviously, you all know why. Same with HKUST. HKUST used to sell like hotcakes in before COVID, and even before the Hong Kong got separated, but nobody now, right? So this is something that you have to understand. The number of programs that are out here and everything else that are there as per the list and so on is limited. So all of you are probably going to vie for the same spots. So you better be aware of what is it that you're looking for right now. Okay. So the final job for you is to pick 5 schools and say, Kritika, this is the 5 schools to which I'm going. And I will tell you hey, you know what? This is ambitious, this is match, and this is reach. Why don't you like look at this other set of schools, or why don't you do this and why don't you do that, and etc. Right? But that process starts today. So it's a request that you will please work on identifying and starting to do research and getting a hang of different B schools. It's not very different than getting a hang of different ice creams. I like to have that analogy because it's equally fun. Trust me. I really wish I could have an ice cream now, but I can't. I think for the past, for the next few days. But that said, right? So, jokes apart, you really want to know what is the difference between Georgia Tech Keller and University of Georgia Terry? You really want to know what is the difference between Kellogg, which is in Chicago, versus your, University of Chicago Booth, which is again in the Chicago area, right? Kellogg is in Evanston, but you know what I mean, like hardly like an hour away from Chicago. You need to understand what is the difference between London Business School, or Cambridge George, and an Oxford Said. Okay, you have to know that kind of differentiation. You have to understand, for example, how is ISB different than IIM Ahmedabad, than IIM Bangalore, and that's why we have our course. So that's why we have like a lot of B school showdowns. So we know like what it takes for people and how hard it can get for people. Like you might be like hard pressed for time and everything else. That's why we have the B school showdown, which is like a quick effort on our part to compare the multiple schools that are available, which are the top schools in that region. So obviously we've not done every school in the world, but this is just to show you about, this is to show you the different types of programs. This is to show you the different M7, obviously. And then again, this is different types of programs, which are very critical in the senior category, if you're 10 plus years of experience. Canada is not popular at all. People have lost interest in Canada for the past 2 years, to be very honest. And especially after the fiasco that we had, no, the diplomatic fiasco, it's not popular any longer. But yeah, and then of course, Europe is getting more popular because of the 1 year and all, but I don't know for how long. All right, and then a lot of other schools that are there. So we do a lot more, and we will be, talking about it and seeing. But see, when you go into one of these, right, what do you get? Is so you will see that you have a not a blank screen, it comes up, promise. You will see that you have like a handout. Now, this kind of handout is what you should be interested in, and you should get started on seeing that. The handout really tells you quickly about the differences, the class profile, what to do, etc., and all. It's a very easy way to get started and to get select your program and all that. Okay, so that, my friends, was the session, or rather focus of the session today. I want to spend the remaining time answering the other questions that you might have for me. And I would love to answer a few other things, right? So, okay. Oh, okay. So let's look at like, to round up on what are the key takeaways for everybody. Can you just quickly type in what was your biggest takeaway for today? It'll be great if you can type in to everybody, or you can just send it to me. That's fine. What was your biggest takeaway from today's session? So we of course started with curiosity around the business world, which is so important to have throughout, and seeking clarity about your career goals from now till September, and about strengthening your commitment towards MBA and showing it through the test, obviously. And then we spent quite a lot of time understanding how to research programs. Okay. And I have one last thing to show you, which is the B School research worksheet, which is obviously I've already downloaded. But I would love to answer a lot of questions for you all. See, we have multiple things, and there is a certain way that we work again. And in the sense of Decisions. See, I always think of decisions. Why decisions? Because you have to decide which region you want to go and settle down in life. You have to decide which career goals you want, which career path you want to take. You have to decide which school to apply, obviously, and which type of program to apply. And you have to decide how much money are you willing to risk. Okay. See, this is a true case. I had a person come in today only. He gave me the good news of having gotten to an MIM program, and he's really happy going there. This was his dream program in Esda Bocconi in Italy, and he got with a scholarship, so he's very happy. So, and we are very happy for him as well. But this is what he asked, last time. He said, like, hey, I have to pay some money. What should I do? Should I pay the money? Should I wait for the result? What should I do? And things like that, right? So it's always about a decision. Doesn't matter where you are on the MBA journey. You all know what to do because there are so many ways of showing that, knowing that, and so on, right? So while you all know everything to do, the challenge might lie in understanding more about execution for some, or it could be starting trouble for some, right? So that's exactly what we hope to remove through the focus hours, right? Okay, so I got some nice answers here. Wrap up your test, first score as much as you can. Absolutely. I can't emphasize it enough. Prepare a list of schools and start researching on lists. Yes. So there are two ways to do the research on it, right? So one easy way is how I showed you in the B School Showdown. So I picked the top schools in each region and I showed you. Right? Because to be very honest, you're not going to go and study in Nigeria, right? No offense to Nigeria, it's a beautiful country for a visit, but probably not for studying. You are obviously going to go to more developed countries than you, and we already know what those countries are, right? Which is like the entire, US, UK, and Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and then your Finland, Sweden, Netherlands, France, Spain, Germany, and that's it. And to be very honest, a lot of people might want to move back to India later. And of course, there are what we call as wings of, rather like what I meant is satellite branches or setups as well, right? In Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in London, and so on. That's it. And of course, Singapore. I can't forget Singapore. So that's all. These are the countries that you have left. So then there are only a handful of programs. So MBA is very easy that way, as compared to MS. See, MS, I have to remember 400 universities, in which I do actually. And for colleges, don't even ask me. I also work with students for colleges. It's actually really fun. And they have tons and tons and tons of colleges, liberal arts colleges and public universities, state universities, private universities, and so on. But MBA is so easy, right? I always pride in being able to rattle the name of the top 25 B schools really fast. And I'm going to break my record soon. I'll post it online, of course, like a rap, which is fun, right? But it's all very easy. So, but knowing the difference between a Georgetown McDonough versus an Owen, knowing the difference between an Owen versus a McCombs, knowing the difference between McCombs versus UCLA Anderson or your Stanford, if in the US, or knowing the difference between Oxford and Cambridge, George versus Saeed, what to expect? AE versus ESA, right, versus SRA, versus an Imperial versus your, Manchester, and so on. So those are all the things that becomes tough. And another easy analogy, it's like deciding between Coke, Pepsi, Fanta. The good thing is always say don't ever touch it, but that's not the thing, right? So the biggest decision you always have to take is which brand are you choosing in your program. All right, so excellent. Some of you have given amazing insights. Prepare a list of schools and research on the schools, researching on the program and selecting the top 5 to apply to. Very nice. Look at more statistics, a more holistic approach, and introspect about personal career goals. Absolutely, you nailed it. Yeah, that was right. Absolutely. So, the key takeaway today, right? In fact, one of my very successful clients, and he is on track to the C suite within 4 years after graduating, 5 years after graduating. It's just mind blowing, to see his trajectory. And he was my one of my very early clients. And I can't believe time flew so fast, but it is. So he was telling the other day that he had connected to close to 100 alums, current students, and everything. Okay, I will give you the cheat option. Go attend an admissions event. There itself, you will 100% find four people, if not more. One is going to be the presenter. One will be definitely somebody which the school will bring, like an alum or a current student or a professor or somebody from the staff, somebody who's linked to the school. All right. And that person is enough to connect you to two or three more. Admissions events are like the easiest way to do it. MBA fairs are coming. A lot of my friends are coming down in these MBA fairs, right? Jennifer always comes from Singapore to India. And I was talking to, I forget who. Oh yeah, there's this ETS, Jay Bryant, and his team is coming to India as well. And then this is GRE, so they also come and have multiple fairs and so on. Now, why am I like doing these names dropping is because these are all people who are like who know things in the world of admissions and can give you some advice, and you can make a good impression on multiple people and learn how to start networking. Okay, Jennifer is a gem for it, who can also really nice. And did you know one thing? If you are a reapplicant, many schools are kind to you. They will be happy to take you again. They're not going to look at you like a failure. They're going to say like, "Oh my God, this person is so committed. Let's help them." That's your mentality. And you know why? Because reapplicants would have worked on their profile better than last year. So if you're reapplicant, the school will also take you in. All right. Okay, so one of the other other things that the other insight that someone has shared right now is know what you want to get into, research well, research deep, keep a tab on the business world you want to land onto. Perfect. I love that. Yeah. Don't tell me you want to get into management consulting without knowing the ABC of management consulting or what a consultant does. Do you know what is a hiring policy at McKinsey? McKinsey will not touch somebody without an internship. So then how does it happen in ISB? You might be wondering, right? Ask an ISB person next time you see that. Okay, these are the kind of questions that you should keep ready. So don't ask the surface level questions. See, what is an example of a surface level question? Like, can you tell me the number of professional clubs that ISB has? Right? Or can you tell me, like, what are the affinity clubs you have? So now, for the admissions person to say, we have 17 clubs and 10 affinity clubs, are you getting anything from it? You could have done a research on the website and a search on Google. Now, this is one area, guys, where I would highly encourage you to use your chat GPTs and your other Bings of the world. Okay. See, more than chat GPT, I have found Bing to be a little useful for the research part of it, and I'm going to show you, right? Because it's fun. And unless you guys have any specific questions for me, which I hope you'll ask me soon. Okay. Otherwise, let's go into this. Let's go into this 1 minute. Let me just stop share and show you. You can see how excited I am, right? So because I have been doing a lot of research on how I can enable you guys to use AI in the right way, which is what ISB does, which is what any other B school does. And there's this amazing professor in Harvard who has used AI in the right way for teaching. And you know that here Harvard is all case studies approach, right? So let me just quickly do how to use Bing for research on ISB right now, because we are talking about it and is right there. Yeah, why not? So let me just see. Okay, guys, this is exactly what I would do. And of course, you guys might have a different approach to it. Please educate me. I would love to know more if you want to share. But see, this is like the quick and easy way of doing it. So I can do. So you know what I would typically put in, like, so for example, the question about how many clubs that ISB has, right? So 1 minute. Okay, so let me not say research, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna say ISB, how many professional clubs does ISB have? Oops, what did I say? I don't want some random stuff coming. Actually, it's 17, but they're saying 15. That's wrong. Maybe they added two last year. So because as of last week, they have, what are they? I'm interested in, see, this is a way to like really like shorten your time. I'm interested in marketing. Can you point? Oops. So what happens is I automatically got into this. I can also ask this Copilot to take over, right? So this is the chatting with the thing, and that might automatically like what do you call it as point me to stuff and everything else. So this is how I would use AI and other things. So now I know so many professional clubs. They said 17, but they're saying 15 here. That's cool. So you can go check it out. And then I can say, like, see, why is this not answering? Oh, here it is. See, it answered the question. Is this not fun? This is how you should use AI. But now, do not trust this directly. You please go to the, okay, now that you got the answer a little bit. Now go and find out marketing club and just look for the right web page, website, etc. and so on. Yeah. So how cool is this, right? And so, for example, you don't know what, so then see this page is also coming up and all that. So I really find this to be extremely useful, and I would want you guys to try this. I found Bing to be more useful than Google. Have you guys had different experiences you want to share? Oh, excellent. So, or rather, are you saying, can you share specific research parameters? Okay. Okay. So one of the requests is like, okay. So, um, so this is also there. Like, see, okay, this one is also there. Sorry, I misunderstood a question as a comment. All right. So let's see. I have 10 years of experience. Which program to choose at ISB? See, you have to be specific, okay, with these questions. You can't be some random thing. It'll throw some random stuff, of course, So be as specific as you can and allow the Copilot for this kind of like stuff, right? So it talks about programs. It may not be the exact answer, but it gives you like a few things for you to definitely look at. I'm actually impressed that it got the answer, right? So it doesn't matter what you're looking for. Let's look at another question. So the other question, right? So we ask what is and how, etc., right? So you can just say that I want to get into management consulting. Okay, now I'm going to go to different school. Can you tell me the employment stats for, let's pick a beautiful campus that I want to visit, Mendoza. I've never visited the Fighting Irish, but it's a beautiful campus. And one of the days I probably will visit the next time I go to the US. So, yeah, I want to get into management consulting. Can you tell me the employment stats for Mendoza? So, what happens? It does. It tells you the report. Now, now, this really becomes like your assistant for the research. But there's a big but with a BUT capital. Look at the, like, what do you call it? All that is great, right? You can just say that, okay? So you can say that, you should go to this kind of supporting information and see it. All right? So you should go to this supporting information. So for that, what I will do, I can ask it like, please also add links and so on. Okay. So let's do that 1 minute. Yeah. So I can just say that, okay. So take me to the employment report. Oops, sorry guys. Here it is. Take me to the employment report for Mendoza, 2023. See the difference. Why did I do it? I asked you with this before, employment statistics, and it gave me 2022. That's not good. So I want 2023. So I'm asking it, and then I can just say, like, give me the link, better to find it, and all that. Bing is a little better because it does give you the link, and you can always go to the link, and it gives you a quick summary. All right, so how cool is that, guys? And I'm sure that there are multiple other use cases. Today, we were only discussing about research about the program, and so that's what we are like, we saw. So use your, definitely use Bing. And I have not particularly liked the Google before, and of course, there was some fiasco with it, I believe. Feel free to use the AI assistant for your research as like more like, it's like somebody passing you a file like that. Okay, so it can see, for instead of me going and searching and all that, it just gives me very quickly, and I can see the summary. If I want to read it, I can read it. Correct? As you saw what happened. I wanted 2023 and it gave me 2022 results, and so on and so forth. So it just kinds of like makes the research process a little fun. So why don't you have a conversation with being powered by ChatGPT and others for your B school research? That'll be super fun. Okay. And last but not the least, please go through the worksheets. There are 3 worksheets that are there. Industry research worksheet, which helps you to identify career goals and take a decision on it. Region research worksheet, which helps you to decide which region to go. Okay. Even in region, in the United States, you literally will have around 10 regions. Example, the most common being Northeast, West, etc. But then you also have the Central, and then the Texas area, then your Arizona and everything else and so on, right? So you have Midwest, obviously, and multiple zones, and nobody wants to go to Iowa, Montana, unless, I don't know, nobody wants to go there. So yeah, so you want to avoid all those areas. So that's why there is a region to go to. And even in, for example, when my clients are searching between London to Cambridge to Oxford and so on, there's a big difference. Okay, so you want to keep all that in mind. So that's why we have the region research worksheet. And then you have the B School research worksheet, wherein all the research that you did today can go in easily into it. Okay, so the next month, what do I expect you to do is you should have 100% finish your industry research worksheet. And by the way, in case you guys are wondering, where is it? It's all here. Everything is here in the very first handy checklist. When you go, you will see important tools, you will see worksheets. This is to help you take the decision and to make it easy for you all. Okay. Now you could have your own variants of these worksheets. You could come and say, look, I have decided to go to management consulting, but I would want to see the supporting reasons. Why? Because the school wants to see the reasons and so on. So these 4 worksheets, you should finish and have it ready by May 100%. So it'll be great if you can just do these over the period of time. This is what I recommend you to do. Keep it open, download it, keep it open. Whenever you have a chance, fill 1 thing, 2 things, etc. All right. Take 15-minute blocks and close it. Okay. So that's all I had, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's session. Can you tell me something more about any of the questions you might have, please? Yeah, please go ahead with the questions. Excellent. Some of you are, one of you said that you're not able to log in immediately. No worries. We're gonna fix it for you. 1 minute, huh? Okay. Just a second while I'm trying to answer a couple of questions here. Okay. Okay, here's a question on, see, what do I do if I don't get the score that I'm targeting? Take it again, my friend. See, let me tell you about what we mean by the June 2024 deadline. See, it's like this. If you're running a race, you want to cross a certain milestone by a certain time, yes? Because otherwise, you know that you're going to push so much that some people may not be able to do it. There are some people who can push themselves. So, for example, you might be the kind of person who is always a last minute, last mile finisher or somebody like that, last minute finisher, right? Um, 1 minute, huh? Sorry. Sorry if I sound so disjointed. Just 1 second. Sorry, I'm back now and better. So, yeah, what do you do if you don't get the score that you want to get, right? You still have to try for it because you don't have any option. Okay. Okay. So that is something that you'll have to see. See, do the research parameters differ for experienced candidates or versus your younger candidates? Honestly, it doesn't. Because it's a question of what matters to you, and that changes from person to person. Today, in fact, I'm working with a candidate who's applying to Kestron and then who's also applying to Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. And the reason the person is doing it is because their GMAT flopped. They've been trying for so long. They couldn't clear the GMAT. So they said, I'm going to apply to programs where, the GMAT is obviously not there, right? So are there any specific parameters for anybody with a higher work experience or something? Not really. If you're, but one thing is there, if you're a person with a higher work experience, you better prove why the MBA is needed for you. Because an MBA, right, typically somebody with 4 years, 5 years of experience is coming. And you with 10 years want to come and sit in that class. So what do you want to learn from it? What do you want to achieve? How is MBA going to help you? So those are things that you have to really be clear about. And again, how will you be clear about it? Remember the small exercise I gave you about envisioning your life in an MBA program? That's exactly what you do. You again want to think deeper about, can I achieve my career goal without having an MBA? Or is there a case that I need to have an MBA to go? Or rather, is there a case that I need a Johns Hopkins Carey Business School MBA to go forward? Right? Because that's what you will answer in the research. Here's another beautiful question. While shortlisting the colleges, my only concern is my profile good enough to get the admission? See, that's my job. Okay, I will tell you. I am going to tell you. See, it's like this, right? When you're going shopping, you have to pick up the things. Let's forget about shopping. Let's say that you're going to an all-you-can-eat buffet meal. You're just going to pick up things that you like to eat. Okay, now I can come and tell you, boss, you can't have so many quantity, or you can't take this, or you can't do it. That's my job to tell you. But your job is just to say, like, which is it that you want in the beginning? See, whether you want to get in or not is not dependent on anything else. Like example, you're not going to, so for example, let's say that LBS, I want to get into LBS. Now, I will tell you like whether you have the leadership experience, the scores, the academic excellence, the intellectual capability, and multiple other factors to see whether you can get in or not. That's my job. But you have to prove and tell me, like, why do you want to go to LBS? What do you get out of it? What are you seeing? What about the experience there? Like, how is London going to help you? Right? The fact that you're in London going to help you and things like that. So while shortlisting the colleges, do not think about your chances. That is only going to what we call as complicate matters. And to be very honest, it's not needed at this stage. Okay. You can also think of it like this. It's like shortlisting something and then deciding whether you are eligible for it or not. So selection is different than eligibility, right? Not even eligibility, it's more of what do you call it as? It's more of a case of evaluation versus selection at the business school levels. But it is, you don't have to worry about it at this point. You just have to see what my preferences are and what is it that I want. Okay. Now, because for us, what matters is after you have described the kind of life you want, if LBS is not able to give you, we will point you to another school which will give you the same thing. Because that's all matters at the end of it, right? At the end of it, it matters that your personal goals, your professional goals, your financial goals, okay, your social development goals, whatever it is, right? The network you want to build, and all of these get satisfied. It doesn't matter whether ISB does it or LBS does it, as long as these get satisfied. Okay. Now, what is the difference though? If you get the goods, if you get the 730 plus score, the older GRE, the GMAT, and now it's around 685 plus on the focus edition. So if you're able to get such a score, then it doesn't really have any issues at all. Okay. So I hope that gave you more clarity. And we really want to do more of these focus hours wherein you can bring in your questions and you can bring in your work. Okay. And we will be experimenting more with helping you through. But my earnest request to you all right now is do not make the mistake of not giving the GMAT sooner. Life comes in May, my friends. And I can tell you that even a couple of you are people who came to us last year and are now considering going this year. It doesn't matter, but you have to know that, as I said, it's like a race. You have to reach a certain milestone. If you reach it in a planned manner and the way that is supposed to be done, then you can run the rest of the milestones as well, and I mean cover the rest of the milestones and the miles in a better manner and in a way that will yield results. If you don't, you're going to be like short of breath and then literally like not able to finish as well. Okay. So that is, and anything else as the last, I can take one last question from people. All right, excellent. So thanks for all of you for being so energetic and participating in the session today. We really hope that this was helpful. We will be back with more such sessions for the focus hours, especially. Until then, until I speak to you individually as well, good luck on your respective sessions. Respective like steps that you're taking. And I'll see you later. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.